Alright, welcome back to another battle report for the Battle of St Lambert.
Sounds about right.
Yes, my French is not great. So, we're doing another campaign game in our Closing the Gap campaign. I've got Bennett here with me. Hey Bennett.
Okay.
He's going to be using the Germans and I'll be using my Yanks. Right, just to give you a little scope of what's happening. So, as you have seen through the previous battle reports, obviously we're pushing through the city and claiming the bridges and what have you. So this is the town of St Lambert, and over here we have a crossing over the river, and on this side over here we have a bridge. These are the objectives for this particular game. So the Germans are already set up and deployed. This is Bennett's army on the left here. You want to go through them, Bennett?
Yeah, so I've just got a 5-man squad with an LMG, 5-man assault engineer squad in there with a flamethrower, medium artillery howitzer, another 5-man squad, and slightly further over against the hedge line is a 5-man squad with an MMG team next to it. Then just tucked behind them is my LT team. Just here, got a medic, a Puma, and then another 5-man squad with some assault rifles there. And then I've got a sniper that's inside this building. And that's my army.
So that's 1,000 points, right?
Yep, 1,000 points.
And they start on the board, already in control, or sort of in control of the objectives. The bridges are 9 inches long, so they're the objective markers. I'm going to be starting on that side of the board, and I'll be coming on the board in 1 and 2 waves, my choice. I'll most likely come in one big wave. And we can go through my army quickly. I've also got 1,000 points. My army is going to be led by this regular lieutenant over here, and I have another platoon which has an inexperienced lieutenant over there. He's learning the ropes. I also have a medic, a support, and a sniper team over there. And then I have 1, 2, 3 10-man regular squads. Oops, I just killed one of Bennett's models. Sorry, Bennett. 3 regular squads of infantry with a bar gunner each. I have a rangers squad here with a light machine gun. And then I have 2 medium mortars and 1 medium artillery, or howitzer as I like to call it, and 1 Sherman tank. So that is my 1,000 points. I'll be coming on that side of the board. We're going to play standard length game, and the objective is to capture the bridges. The standard rules for our campaign apply, so any units that are wiped out in this particular scenario we'll have to roll on the table to see if they lose any regular veteran statuses. And that's about it. Anything else you can think of, Bennett?
Yeah, you guys, as the attackers, get a preparatory bombardment, which we'll see how it goes in the next video. But yeah, all guys dug in, see how we go.
You're going to smoke me some Jerry's out. And this is the town, all set up and ready to go. These are the 2 bridges. One's a bridge, one's a crossing. And there we go. Alright, so we'll be back after the bombardment and with the first turn. Alright, so this was the pre-bombardment and first round, battle round. Pre-bombardment didn't go too bad. I destroyed the SDK Jiggy.
250-10.
Yeah, so I took that out and the unit jumped at a bailout because it was on fire, and they have 3 pins.
Yep.
I pinned a lot of other stuff, really inconsequential. I did kill a guy from this squad here, as they were the only 2 6s I rolled. The rest of it were all just pins. I think I missed, the only one I missed was this one on the squad. So lots of pins, and then as you can imagine for this type of scenario, as the dice came out, a lot of them came out in Bennett's favour to begin with, which I'm not sure is a good thing for him, but he just rallied and got rid of a lot of pins and stuff. On that flank over there though, so you had the machine gun, the big artillery gun, and a few rifles and whatever, and the sniper in this building, although the sniper failed its morale test and went down, all fired onto the bell tower over there. Everything missed except the cannon, which actually got a direct hit onto the building. I went down to half the shots, and Bennett rolled 3, so he only got 1 shot through. Killed the loader for the sniper, and he went down as well. So that's pretty much everything that Bennett did. He kept the Puma on ambush, so when I brought on my tank and tried to fire, I tried to fire on these guys here, and you'll see my positions in a minute. Missed everything over there. The Puma wrecked back and got out of position. So this is mine over here. Everything else has just literally come running on. So I've got an infantry squad over here running onto the board. The tank came down the road. We've got 2 more infantry squads over here with the regular LT and the medic in tow. My mortars and howitzer over there with the inexperienced officer. The rangers down that side, and obviously the snipers over there. I've got 2 spotters over here and another spotter down here. So that is the first turn. Anything to add, Bennett?
I think you covered it all. Let's get on with the next one.
Alright, let's do it. Okay, so this was battle round 2. I haven't filled any live turns yet because we're still doing that, you know, moving into positions.
Tetchy.
Yeah, tit and tat for each other, that sort of thing. So the dice came out pretty evenly, you know, 1, 1, 1, 1 like that. I moved up all my infantry, as you can see, just running forward as fast as they can. In this cluster over here, you've got the infantry squad with the medic and the LT just behind them, and then the 2 spotters just in front of them. Down this side, you've got an infantry squad. The rangers have moved into the house, or not into the house, sorry, to the left of the house. And then obviously all my artillery at the back there with the LT giving them fire orders. The major thing from my perspective, the sniper was the first dice I got, and he fired at a machine gun team in this squad over here. Got a critical hit and killed the whole squad. Or the guy.
The gun.
So that's one guy dead there. From your perspective, everything kind of held firm. Fired a few shots at the sniper, all missed. This squad over here has moved up. This was one of the tactical issues. I didn't move the tank. I kept the tank till last because I didn't. This unit's got a Panzerfaust, and I was worried that he's going to move into the building and then fire. So I've kept out of the range of the Panzerfaust, moved up there, fired on the sniper in that building. I missed. Put a hit on these with the machine guns, and that's pretty much it. You didn't do much damage to me, did you, Ben? It's just.
I put a pin. You got a pin on the sniper?
No, you lost it.
That's it. I did nothing.
Yeah. But Bennett's obviously getting rid of all the pins that he got from the bombardment, and waiting for me to come. He's taking position. Obviously, this squad is taking a bit of a hit, yeah. But this squad is obviously in position of the bridge, and he's got support here from his weapons, and obviously this is keeping me at bay here. And then down that side, he had a little unlucky with his veteran team failing their order and went down. But other than that, everything over there just fired into the building and missed. So that's turn 2. Very simple, nice and quick. We're going to go on to turn 3.
Minutes or so.
Alright, so this was round 3. And it was an interesting round. I'll get to why it was interesting in a second, but give you a recap of what's happened. Again, it's we were just maneuvering into position. Bennett had the first couple of dice come out, and he's trying to disrupt my artillery pattern by, one, moving things. So, for example, the machine gun team that was down there in the corner, they advanced and fired on the building, I think it was, Bennett? Or
no, the
Rangers.
Oh,
yeah, that's right. They killed one of the Rangers at the back there. So, obviously disrupting my ranging in on them. And then the other 2 stuff, the cannon at the back that was ranged in by one of my mortars, again, I hit. I missed, but it's obviously ranged in twice. He then advanced or moved backwards, putting me out of range of his artillery as well.
Killed the spotter as well.
Oh yes, and then this machine gun team over here, they took out the spotter right here, shot him dead cold, which is the middle mortar down there. So the middle mortar had to fire, you know, with its own eyes. It targeted this squad down here, and then when they turned, they just moved again to avoid getting shot at. So none of my stuff is ranged in except for that machine gun team there, which is hitting on a 2+ now. My sniper also targeted them, hit but failed to wound, and then everything else of mine just advanced forward. Because you can't run over the walls, I've had to advance slowly across this walls here. Oh, I forgot to use my medic. I'll do that in a second. So everything's advanced. The Rangers moved up to the wall there, fired on the machine gun team, didn't get any hits. My tank, this is where the thing, my tank got hit by the Puma, but didn't get wounded, so he took a pin marker. I moved my LT across to this side here, so that I could give the +1 to fire on there. The last dice I had for that turn, I fired the machine gun team onto those guys right down there, and I fired on the Puma with my main gun. Got a direct hit on the Puma, took it out, brilliant. Fired on those guys, killed one of them, genius. So what an awesome maneuver that was by me. I've taken out, the major threat for my tank on this flank, other than the Panzerfaust in this building, and I also made that squad weaker. Then I remembered, I've got a pin marker. I need to, roll for the pin. So it's -1, regular -1, so I need a 9 with a +1 from my lieutenant, and I rolled a 10. It's like, damn it! So we had to retcon everything, put everything back, and change that order, which was really annoying, because that went from being me doing okay, to me doing not so okay. And then the final thing is, these guys over here moved into the building, fired onto these guys in the open, took 2 of them out, and that is pretty much it. Everything is moving forward on my side, and on Bennett's side, everything is maneuvering around his deployment zone, because he's just got to hold his bridges for another 3 turns. These guys went down on their turn, and these guys have all just hunkered down in behind the buildings, moving away from the artillery firing in on them. So that's pretty smart moves by Bennett. He's also still got a sniper in this building, which took some shots from my bar gunners and etc., but didn't get any hits through. My shooting was terrible. I mean, one of my squads fired, I think, 10 dice, and I got 1 4-up. So that's
pretty poor, yeah.
Yeah, that's not great. But other than that, I'm liking the way that it's really tactical at the moment. I'm pushing up as fast as I can but everything on foot, because obviously in the campaign I was not clever enough to take a lot of transports. I took 1 transport, and it's now not even in this unit, in this particular engagement. So, what do you think so far, man?
Yeah, it's a very touchy game. It's very backwards and forwards, trading, tacticals and that. It's just whether you've got to run at me now almost, and sort of hope that your artillery can support your guys to get you there in time.
It's funny, most of our games recently have been really titchy. I mean, this is our 3rd game in a row that me and Bennett have played, and I think in all that time, you beat me in the one game 1-0, where we killed 1 unit out of the whole game. Yeah. And in the last game where you ran away with the objective, I murdered your army. You didn't kill a single thing of my stuff. So that's quite interesting.
At least a few people have died. So
yeah, so some people are dying, and that's good. Wait, what? All right, we'll be back with turn 4. All right, so round 4 is completed. That was a pretty interesting round. That Bennett got the first dice. What did you do, Ben? Yeah, with that first dice, you tried to shoot at something, and I can't remember what it was.
Wasn't it my sniper or something that tried to shoot at?
Oh, I remember now. Those guys down at the bottom there, that was ranged in by the mortar.
Oh yeah, they tried to move.
Yeah, and they failed. So they went down, and then I took advantage of that. My sniper in the bell tower.
Shot my sniper, didn't it?
Yeah, shot the sniper down here, killed him with exceptional. Beautiful. Then my mortar ranged in on that squad. They were already down anyway. And they took another casualty, and also 3 pins, which is my... And then the lucky shot of the game, the engineer squad hiding at the back of the rocks down there. I'm just zooming in, trying to be technical here. Over there. They got hit by the other mortar that had a spotter still left. And they went down, lost 2 guys, I believe, and took 2 pins. So I was pretty chuffed with that start. Then Bennett fired these guys out into my infantry squad over there at the back. Took 3 casualties there. Medic didn't save them. And then kind of from there onwards, it was a lot of just running and pushing. I fired my tank at the Puma again. I missed this time, and the machine guns killed one of these guys over here. And then Bennett fired...
Oh, we did that.
Yeah, they killed them.
You killed the mortar, the machine gun with you.
That's right, yeah. This infantry squad, advanced up the hill, fired at the machine gun over there, and got him with an exceptional wound. So that was beautiful. So I took out the machine gun, I took out the sniper, I took out the engineer squad, and the machine gun squad over there. Not took them out completely, but...
You've hamstringed them.
Yeah, they've been taking pins and stuff. And I've pushed everything else forward. Those guys ran up forward. These guys moved up forward again, and then Bennett's LT squad picked off another one. So they're not looking very fresh, but they're still pushing forward. And then down here, my mortar without the spotter has moved forward, and the Rangers moved out from their position. They had a really nice snug position there behind the hill, in the church courtyard. But obviously, the objective for me is to take these buildings, so they moved forward and put a pin on those guys. And that is pretty much it for round 4. As we push forward into round 5, the Americans are pushing up towards the bridges, but we're still not in control yet, but we are taking out some of the Germans' more superior, well, not superior, but heavier firepower. I really want to take out this Puma though, and this side is still looking pretty solid for you, but this side is looking a little less solid.
I think it started looking ropey from the turn that you kept
Peppering them.
blew that up in the preparatory bombardment, and this has been like artillery corner for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, just abandon it. And,
All those rocks are just tumbling down on those poor Germans.
yeah.
But that's what it looks like at the moment. My guys are pushing hard up on the line. It's what I get for walking everything on foot, but I like boots on the ground. So on to round 5 we go. Alrighty, so this was turn 5, and another interesting turn. I think you came out with most of the dice, didn't you? It was crazy. I mean, I should have dice superiority by this point because I've taken out quite a few of Bennett's units. But he still had superiority when it came to pulling out the dice. And he did an interesting thing. He moved these guys out over to there to get in within +1 range of them. Took 5 of them out because I went down. If I didn't, he might have taken out more of the squad. And I passed my morale test, which was interesting. I was not expecting that. And then he fired a couple of other bits and pieces. The cannon fired at my engineers. I think the Puma moved over there and fired at my rangers. Took 2 of them out. As you can see, the 2 dead guys over there. And so it continued. Then my mortars started firing. So I first fired the first mortar at the engineers at the back there. I rolled a 1 to hit. Can you believe it? Then the other mortar fired at the guy in the front. I hit that one and then rolled a 1 to wound. So that didn't go too well there. I was quite annoyed at that. So both mortars missed that up. The third mortar fired at the Puma over here and missed, but he was obviously just ranging in. The sniper fired at these 3 guys over here and missed. And then it came down to my tank moving up here and shooting 2 of them dead and putting a wound on the cannon at the back there. Well, cannon was a long speculative shot. And then these guys, I first moved my officer up. He fired on them, got a pin, but no wounds. These guys moved over here, took out 2 more. Still have got to do morale check for them. These guys obviously went down. Medic ran over there. These guys, I was waiting till the last minute for them because these guys went on ambush, and I didn't want to just run up into the open here and get peppered, even though I know I need to get to the bridge because I got these guys over here that can swing around. So I fired on them. Bennett went down with them, so they down, and I didn't get any hits through, which is quite annoying. But the Rangers, they moved up onto the bridge, fired onto these guys. They went down, and I got no hits through there. Just a lot of 6s followed by 6s, and I think that's about it. Bennett's LT fired on my medic, and I moaned at him because he hasn't heard of the Geneva Convention. You don't shoot medics, Bennett.
I don't know he's a medic. He's not got anything identifying on there.
You mean the big red cross? Look at that.
Short-sighted.
But he missed anyway. And what else? The medic just went down, and that was pretty much it. Bennett's running out of forces, and he's holding the line here by going down, trying to stop me from taking him out. This was really surprising to me. I couldn't believe that he went for that. I thought he would stay in the building and try and hold me up as long as possible. And he was keeping my tank at bay because he's got a Panzerfaust still left right there. So I'm hoping he fails his leadership test. I'm going to give you 2 dice, Bennett. Let's do this on camera. Here you go.
I don't want to use your weighty dice. They're weighted, man. That's good.
Yeah, fine. Alright, so we're going to go on to turn 6 now. And hopefully my dice superiority. Because I haven't lost any dice yet. And Bennett's lost 3 or 4? 3. So, actually, there's not that much of a superiority because he had 1 over me to begin with. I know it was even, 12 all.
It was even. I started the game with 1 less because you blew up in the preparatory bombardment. But...
That's right, yeah. Alright, so let's go to turn 6. Alright, so this is turn 6. Drama. Man, interesting turn. So, first dice came out to me, and I moved my tank. I immediately thought, the Panzer guy there, and I know Bennett's rolling is completely jammy, so I decided, know what, I'm going to move the tank. So he advanced up to the bridge here, fired his machine guns down onto these guys over there. Unbelievably, Bennett went down and I got no hits. And then fired my cannon at the Puma, which also missed. Then Bennett got the Puma. He moved around to there, fired onto my Rangers on the bridge. I went down, and I don't think he got a hit, but no wounds, is there? Something like that?
I think I killed 1, so...
And then a slew of dice came out for Bennett. He moved that one guy that's been peppered by mortars, him and his friend, onto the bridge, sort of at the end there, fired onto my Rangers. These guys fired onto the Rangers. I think these guys over here moved to the end and
fired on that squad there, killed one.
Yep, killed one after they moved up and fired onto here. I need to push hard onto the bridge, but you can't run over a wall. And I was on the other side, so I just advanced, fired. They were down, so I didn't get any hits through. This is the bad one for me. These guys had one pen. I'm within 6 of the officers, so I needed a straight roll of 9. I rolled 11, and they went down instead. Because if they didn't, they could have ran around here and got onto the bridge. Because this is obviously, even though I've got a unit on the bridge, it's not contested because the infantry trump the artillery for holding possession.
Tank.
Or tank. What did I say?
Artillery.
Over here, this infantry unit passed their morale test, moved onto the bridge, into the house, and fired onto those guys, killed one over there. The medic ran around here to help give support to the Rangers and the guys obviously in the house. This was the funny part. My officer charged this guy. He was within 6, so he couldn't stand and shoot or retaliate, and I just clubbed him in the head, killed him. Which I thought would do me good, because obviously take dice out of the bag, but obviously Bennett still got all his dice out. He made a slight error. His artillery fired on this squad down here, as opposed to the guys in the actual bridge, and missed. But if the dice, he rolled a 5, if he'd rolled onto them, he would have hit them. And then the lone engineer got hit by a mortar again. 2 or more of his friends died, and he's now one flamethrower guy standing on his own. My sniper fired from the bell tower at that single guy over there, got a hit but no wound. The medic and the officers moved across here. Obviously we said the officers fired over there. So currently this bridge here is contested because I've got infantry and he's got infantry all within 3 of the bridge. This one is in German control at this point because the Germans have control of the base here. I'm only moving a tank onto the board. You would think a tank would be scary as shit, but not for these hard-ass Germans.
They're stubborn, man.
Yeah, stubborn, yeah. So, this is the end of turn 6. Game will end on a 1, 2, or 3. Bennett, roll into the river.
Drum roll.
At 2, the game ends. And that is a German victory. Because they got 1 bridge to 0. Man, you're a lucky son of a gun.
I feel that was the only luck I got that game. I don't feel anything else sort of went my way, but...
Because I definitely think if this game went for another turn, I would have cleared out everything, yeah.
I think pretty much you probably would have cleared out majority. I think maybe this bridge might have been contentious.
Yeah, but I mean, I think
depending on dice.
If the dice came out in my favour, I think I definitely would have moved the tank up onto the bridge, clearing out these guys, having my infantry to come in on top there. This one, like you say, is a bit of a problem. The Rangers are not really that effective at the moment because there's so much stuff. And the guys in the house were providing support, and I've got these guys at the back here as well. So that was really interesting as well. I mean, my artillery actually did a good number on you, which was quite surprising. You know, my artillery never do anything.
Well, I think the fact that you had 3 of them just pounding away and sort of no retaliation to them, just a free reign of dropping shells all over the board.
And of course with the bombardment at the beginning as well.
At the beginning of the preparatory bombardment.
I should maybe have taken an artillery or air observer as well.
Yeah, well,
I could have had more flames flying in, just peppering
you
these.
just killed me with pins with that as well, because that generally does a lot of pins.
So yeah, that was a really interesting game. I mean, I spent a lot of turns just hoofing it across the table, getting into position, and I almost made it.
I mean, it's, without having any transports whatsoever, you made the game quite difficult for you. But I think you played probably the right way, not just rushing headlong into fire. It's advancing as sort of as quickly and as efficiently as you can while laying down fire.
And one dice roll actually cost me well, it would have been a draw because both bridges would have been contested. But that unit obviously there failing its morale check on a 9 was, that was bad because they would have obviously made it to the bridge, infantry contesting it. That would have been awesome. And I think also the turn where I failed my tank, and where I shot the Puma dead.
If that had actually have happened, then this game would have been all yours because you wouldn't have had this threat here coming down onto them at all.
Because that's the one thing I'm struggling with how to deal with it. Like obviously the little bits of infantry, the 2 guys and the 1 guy, that's not a problem. So if I could survive, obviously
Yeah, if the dice come out in your order, you could easily mop them up quite efficiently. And then the only thing really you can take that out is your tank, which quite cool actually. The tanks sitting opposite each other on the bridges.
Yeah, but obviously I would have taken the victory there, because even though my infantry would have trumped your vehicle. So that was a really interesting game. The campaign continues. The battle for St Lambert rages on, and Bennett's friggin' luck holds out.
Selling my lives dearly for the German cause.
Anyway, thanks a lot for that, Bennett. That was a really interesting game. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
And I hope you guys got the general gist of it. Hopefully at some point we can actually do the battle reports where you can see us moving and shooting and stuff. But there's two things. A, it's really difficult with the way the dice come out, because you've got to check a lot of stuff as well. But we'll fix that in the future. In the meantime, you can just hear me raging on about what's going on. Alright, we'll speak to you guys later.